we are going to discuss together the most important and distracted properties of square, rhombus and rectangle. Even though these three figures, what the three figures? Basically this and this. If I name them, so simply they are the rhombus, square and the rectangles. You simply are set to learn the basic properties of these three factors, and when you got to to learn about the properties of these three factors, you really got confused and you got disturbed at what to use and how to learn. Where is 90 degrees, so where is the diagonals are bisecting, where a consecutive pairs are equal, so where the diagonals are bisecting at a right angle. All these things, just throw them. You are right now on the 3D studies. You will understand a little thing, and today's thing that we are going to discuss is called, I'm going to write is magic T format. What do I mean by magic T format? Today we are going to discuss and learn all the three properties of rhombus, square as well as rectangle with the magic of the T format. T format. So let us draw T format for this particular topic. Let us see. As I told you, the T format. So let us draw T format for every of the three factors. We first of all have rhombus, then we have a square, and then we have at last rectangle. So this is your first T and this is your second T. So we are going to see T format, and this is my T format 3D studies, and this is actually my separate and personal T format which I made it. Alright, this is Adish Srivastav's T format trick to learn all the properties of rhombus, square and rectangle. So let us see. Very easy. Now let us draw the figure of that particular ones. Okay. So we have over here rhombus. How the rhombus look actually? Simple like this. A complete square with some of the properties of rectangle and somewhat tilt. What I am saying, thing, and by that only you can understand the properties. Rhombus is that type of four-line closed figure which is somewhat like a square with all sides equal, including some of the properties of rectangle with some tilt format. Even you can see over here. Now let us jump on square. Now what do we gist of square? Simple. A four-sided closed figure and with equal sides. Now if we come to rectangle, opposite pairs of sides are equal. We have seen further many of the properties of square, rhombus and rectangle, but right now we are going to discuss this, including the similarity and the differences among these three. Let us start point number 1 with rhombus. Even though in the rhombus, what happens actually? See, you can write over here. First of all, see what happening over here. If I draw some diagonal in this particular figure in the rhombus, where from I draw the diagonal from, even though if I name this rhombus, so we have AB, CD. So this is a complete rhombus which I have in front of us. Then if I want to draw a diagonal on this particular figure, however, you can take any of the vertex. What would be the vertex? AB and CD. So if I take A, so from here where we can draw the diagonal? Simple, your answer are coming, and that will definitely write that your diagonals are just go from A point to C. from A point to C, and if we draw the diagonal on B, let us draw from A to C only it can go. If we think to draw the diagonal from A to B, we cannot make it because it's a straight line. And if we want to draw the diagonal from A to D, we cannot write even though because they are nearby A, but C is exactly in front of A. Now, if we think to draw the diagonal from B, we can simply draw the diagonal from B to D because it is in front of us, that B. But if we want to draw the diagonal from B to A and B to C, it cannot be had. Alright. Now, see, we have talked about A and we have talked about the B. We have at least not to talk about the D and C. See, if we want to draw the diagonal from the point number C or the vertex number C, how will draw? Simple. C from A, not from B to D, because at the A point from the C is just in a straight point, and B and D are just together with C. Simple. As same happens with D, that D can only make a diagonal from the straight line to go in the vertex number B, not C or A. Hope so you understand only the figure rhombus, and we'll move together with all these figures. You can understand. Let's take this square. We have this square AA. Now you have confusion, ma'am. Why you draw AA over all sides? Because in the figure of square, every of the particular vertex and side are equal. Simple. So if here we like to draw the diagonal, we'll simply draw as it is in the rhombus. Because you cannot draw the diagonal like this, or like this. We can only draw the diagonal in the straight format by crossing the figure. Now let's come to the rectangle. So what happens in the rectangle? We'll name that AB and CD. AB and CD. It is a rectangle. If we want to draw the diagonal of that particular rectangle, we'll draw like this. As we cannot draw like this, we only can draw by straight line crossing following figure. Here also we cannot draw like this. As I told you also, we can only draw the figure as crossing the figure completely. Now, at the first point of rhombus, what it says that, listen, each perpendicular to each other when diagonals are bisecting to each other. What do I mean over here? Means perpendicular, what I mean? When the diagonals are bisecting in the rhombus, I am right now talking about rhombus. So correlate with rhombus, don't see these points. See only rhombus. What I am saying, when diagonals are bisecting, what I mean over here? See over here completely. That in the rhombus, what happening? Simple, in the rhombus, the figure are divided into two congruent triangles, and that are completely diagonals are bisecting completely, and by that completely bisecting, it is making somewhat perpendicular. You can see over here. I'll draw like this is your diagonal which are bisecting the rhombus, and the rhombus is like this. Simple. So this line is showing somewhat perpendicular, like this perpendicular. It is showing somewhat perpendicular, even though this figure is also showing perpendicular like this. This figure is also showing perpendicular like this. And this line is also showing perpendicular like this. How many perpendicular are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. But how these perpendicular occurs? When the diagonal bisect. So one property had been done. You'll be surprised. While talking together, we have discussed one property of rhombus. What is one property of rhombus? Let me write for you all. So each perpendicular, this is perpendicular. If you want to write, you can write. So each perpendicular to each other, each perpendicular to each other, each perpendicular to each other when simple diagonals are bisecting what? The rhombus or the figure. First property had been done. Now, if here happens that after bisecting by the diagonal the rhombus into two halves and getting the perpendicular, what happens in the square? When the diagonals bisect the square, what happens in this? Let us see. Point number A for the square is when the diagonal bisect each other. So bisect at this. What do I mean by this? Right angle. So when the diagonals bisect the square, when the throw them out. See on square. When the diagonal bisect this perfect square, we get right angle. How right angle? Let me show. We have like this. So in this, what happening? We are having the perfect square with the perfect straight lines. And here we are getting this and this, including over not here. We are getting over here 90 degree. We are getting over here also 90 degree. Here also 90 degree. Here also 90 degree. So these all figures, when crossing and forming 90 degree, it simply refers that when the diagonals of squares bisect each other, for the state that happens over here, that in the square, when the diagonal bisect of the square, it gives you right angle, means 90 degree. But when the diagonal bisect rhombus, it gives you perpendicular side. It gives you perpendicular side. Now let's see what happens in the rectangle after getting divided by the diagonal. So we have seen in the rhombus what happens, that in the rhombus it just diagonal bisect each other in this at the 90 degree, and here also happens as same as the square, that it also bisect this rectangle at right angle. And needs to be noticed that I am writing even the similarity and differences all among the figures. You can see what are the similarities coming, what are the differences are coming, and that is the major point to learn. Now the first point completed of all these three figures. Hope so you can take the screenshot that particular. Yes, hopefully you have taken the screenshot. Now let us discuss together the second points of square, rhombus and including rectangle. So what happens over here? Let us see. Simple. Now the second point about the rhombus, what it says that all four sides are equal. You can write over here. Simple, you are seeing this. All the sides, or even though all the four sides are equal. Now see the similarity between the rhombus and square in the second properties of all the three figures. Here also all the sides are equal. But here what happens? Here what happens in the second property? It differ from the two figures. What happens? Here happens that opposite sides are equal. You can understand easily all the sides are equal means this AB plus BC plus CD plus DA is all equal. In this also A are equal. But in this particular rectangle, opposite sides are equal. This is equals to this and this is equals to this. What I mean this and this, AB is equal to CD and BC is equal to AD. Simple. So this is one difference come of the rectangle by these two figures, and one similarity come among the rhombus and square. Now you can take the screenshot again of this if you want. Now let's see the third point, or the property of rhombus, square and rectangle. Hopefully interesting and enjoying a lot with this amazing T format, because hope by this you can understand the differences, you can understand similarity and you can learn it. Now the third point, and the third not only the last point about the rhombus is, here happens that a pair of its I mean a rhombus, a pair of its consecutive sides are, listen and see carefully, equal. But here also you need to write that a pair of its consecutive sides are equal in length. Hope so you understand, this is differ from every other thing. Now what happens in the a particular square is that all sides are equal, diagonals are bisecting at right angle, and each angle is 90 degree. One more point is in square is that each side is 90 degree. And this is a special thing about the square is that every of the side is equal, and in sides, in vertices, in particular points, and even though the angles are also equal and formed at 90 degree. Now in this what happens? By rhombus, here is a pair of its consecutive sides are equal in a length, and here happens the same thing. One more similarity about rhombus and square is that the pair of its consecutive sides are equal, but equal in what? The answer is equal in length. See, we have seen the differences and similarity of rhombus and square if we talk about these both. So, only one difference is there, but all the things are same of rhombus and square. The differences are that the diagonal when bisecting, in the rhombus it forms the, what forms? A perpendicular, and in the square it forms a right angle, means 90 degree. And all the things which we talk about the rhombus or the square are basically same. You can learn it easily about the properties of rhombus and square. Now let us see about the rectangle. We have seen opposite sides are equal. In this what happened? Leave them. Come in the part of rectangle. Opposite sides are equal. Side means AB is equals to CD and BC is equals to AD. Now in second thing what happens? Opposite angles are equal. Opposite angles are equal. Opposite angles means this angle will equal to this angle will equal to this, and this angle will equal to this, and this angle will equal to this. Means angle A equal to angle B equal to angle C equal to angle D. That equals to give you a right angle or 90 degree each. You can write over here each because every angle is getting you equal to 90 degree because opposite angles are equal. We are getting by this property. Now, we have seen a lot about rectangle, square and rhombus and their respective properties by this amazing T format, which was written by me. So hopefully you enjoy and understand this little differences and similarities between the three figures of rhombus, square and rectangle. And this was the question asked somewhere. That is why I bring a separate video on this. If you want to ask more questions related to math, etc., many subjects are there, you can write in the comment section. I'll definitely solve your queries. Till that, take care and bye-bye.